Hi, I'm Caitríona Redmond. I'm a food writer and a full-time working mum who lives here in Balbriggan in North County Fingal. And today I'd like to show you how to make an extremely easy meal that will take loads and loads of pressure off. Particularly when you're tired, you're rushed off your feet, all you want to do is just lash something in the oven and forget about it. And then you can enjoy a lovely dinner tonight, and then hopefully you can also enjoy a lovely dinner tomorrow as well. And I just want to show you how. All of the ingredients I'm using today are locally sourced. They've come from local farmers, local producers and local supermarkets. So they're very, very easy for you to find in the Fingal area. I'm starting with a classic. We live in the garden, fruit and vegetable basket of the entire of Ireland in Fingal. Fingal County Council's motto is Flirta Talavis Mara. It's an abundance of ground, I suppose, and the sea. And potatoes are part of our North County Dublin story. Now, this has to be very, very simple to prepare, and I'm not even going to peel these potatoes. So they have been washed and dried, and all I'm going to do is, I've got a very, very sharp knife here, and I'm going to pierce the potatoes a couple of times, and I'm going to pop them into the oven at 180 degrees Celsius. That's a fan oven. I'm actually cooking twice as many potatoes as I'm going to need today, because I'm going to use the leftover potatoes for dinner tomorrow. All I'm going to do now is I'm literally going to pop these into the oven on the rack. No baking trays, no washing up, straight into the oven. So while the potatoes have started to cook in the oven, baked potatoes are quite dense, so they're going to take a little bit of a while longer. I wanted to take a break, so I've gone off, I've put my feet up, I've had a cup of tea, and now they've been cooking for about a half an hour. Now it's time for me to get the chicken into the oven. I've got a very heavy cast iron baking dish here, and I'm going to put a small amount of oil in it, and I only want a small amount of oil in it because I don't want the chicken to stick, and I will use a little bit more oil later on for the vegetables. I've got some lovely rapeseed oil to cook with, and again that comes from those beautiful fields of yellow flowers that you see up and down the county towards the end of spring and early summer. These flowers go towards making this oil, so again it's a very, very local oil that I'm cooking with. Just a small drizzle, and I don't know if you can see that there, so I'll just hold it up to the camera so you can see how little I've put in. I don't even know if you can see it there. So I'm just going to roll it around in the casserole just make sure it's coated. And then I have some chicken legs. Chicken legs are great for small children because they can hold on to them. Be careful with the bones, but also they don't cost as much, so it's really a family meal on a budget. Again, potatoes don't cost very much either. I've got 10 chicken legs here, or is it 9? I've got chicken legs anyway. So I'm only oiling the bottom of the pan, and I'm just popping all of these chicken legs in. And those potatoes are cooking away in the oven, and the smell of baked potatoes, I gotta tell you, it really, really makes me feel kind of homey. It's a nice winter warmer, but equally it's a delicious meal to make when it's raining outside, although we've been truly blessed with the weather so far this year. So I've actually got 8 chicken legs, so that's perfect for a family of between 3 and 4. I'm just gonna get rid of this and wash my hands. I'm not going to put oil on top of this. The skin on the chicken legs has a little bit more fat, and the legs themselves have a little bit of fat through them, so it gives them more moisture, so they're not going to go dry. But what I do want to do is I want to add some extra flavourings into the chicken to make it taste a little bit nicer. So first things first, I'm going to add some salt on top. So a little pinch of salt over each chicken leg. That'll help the skin to crisp up and adds a little bit of extra flavour. Next, I have some paprika. Paprika will give it a slight kind of warming flavour, but it'll also add a lovely golden colour to your chicken. I'm going to hold on to these herbs and spices for cooking with the vegetables later, and you'll see what I mean. I've got some coriander. And then finally, I've got some ground garlic. Now, if I was to add regular fresh garlic to this, it would burn very, very quickly. But the garlic granules of the garlic salt gives it a lovely garlic aroma without it becoming burnt. So just a small amount on top. And use whatever you have. If you only have salt and pepper, use salt and pepper. There is my chicken. I'm going to pop it all into the oven. And the potatoes have been cooking for a half an hour. I'm going to put this chicken into the oven for half an hour. I'm going to go off and do another couple of bits. You can see how quickly this is taking me to assemble. It's very little stress, very little washing up, very little cleaning. So my chicken has been in the oven for half an hour. My potatoes have been in the oven for, in total, an hour. We're getting close to the point where I want to serve up my dinner. So now's a great time for me to prepare the last of my vegetables. We've got beautiful seasonal kind of salad type fruits and vegetables that I can cook with straight away. But the thing is, they're so tender. I don't want to start them cooking at the start with the chicken because they become squishy, they lose their texture and they lose their flavour. So what I want to do is I want to cook my kind of soft, summery, salady vegetables at the very last minute. I'm only going to pop them into the oven on top of the chicken for the last 20 minutes or so, probably about 15. I'm going to dress these vegetables in this large bowl. I've got the same seasoning that I used to put on the chicken the first time, so I'm now going to add these into the bowl. So once again, I'm going to use a dash, not too much, of Irish rapeseed oil. And then I'm going to add in some of these garlic granules, some paprika. I mean, if you like spicy food, there's nothing wrong with you putting in some chili flakes, paprika, and finally some salt. So that's what I'm going to use to season the vegetables. Next, I want to cut them up and put them into the bowl with this seasoned oil. I've got some absolutely gorgeous Irish cherry tomatoes on the vine. Now, normally if I was cooking with tomatoes, I wouldn't have them on a vine, but because they're local and because they've come on the vine, I'm going to cook them on the vine. I'm just not going to eat it. It adds extra flavour to the cooking. So they're going to go straight in. I've rinsed them and I've dried them off. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure they're not in too many big bunches and they're going straight into the bowl to be dressed. As simple as that. Next, I have some Irish courgettes. They're in season at the moment. I'm just going to top and tail it. I'm cutting the courgette into kind of chunky rounds and then I'm going to cut them themselves into quarters. So you've got 4 quarter pieces. You see them there? And they're all going to go in the bowl as well. I've got a lovely red pepper, again, locally grown. I'm just going to cut around the seeds, around the central part of it. And it's just kind of chunks. If you cut it too small, it'll burn and it's not all that pleasant to eat. I've got some lovely juicy sugar snap peas here. If they were older, it's just that we're very young in the season. The ends of them are not woody. They've been picked only recently, so they're gonna go straight in the bowl. If you notice any woody bits, cut them off, but they're actually fine to eat whole. I've got some gorgeous scallions. I've got full length of these. I'm gonna cut them into 3. So all that remains for me to do is to take this bowl of vegetables with the seasoned oil at the bottom, give them a toss around with my hands, and then I'm going to pour them on top of the chicken for the last 15-20 minutes of cooking. So now the chicken has been cooking in the oven for about a half an hour. I've left the oven open, so I need to bring it back over straight away. Here's the bowl of vegetables that I tossed around with the lovely flavoured oil. And I just want to make sure I get a little bit of everything on that. And then a little shake, and I'm going to pop this straight back in the oven now. Dinner is ready and there's a wonderful aroma of all these fresh vegetables filling the kitchen. I took the baked potatoes out of the oven about 5 minutes ago just to let them cool a little bit to make them easier to handle. I have cut a cross in the top of this baked potato. I'm just going to pinch them a little bit and I'm going to put a knob of butter in on top. You could of course use a salad dressing or a sauce or anything else that you want. That's my potato. I'm going to serve it up with some beautiful roasted summer vegetables that have been grown locally. And remember, you're not going to eat those vines, but they do help add to the wonderful aroma. And then I've got 2 beautiful chicken legs, or maybe the one, depending on how hungry you're feeling. And that is a wonderful summer supper. Now, let me just show you this. Now, if you've made too much for dinner tonight, this is the perfect meal to reheat tomorrow. Baked potatoes make the most wonderful mash. So scoop out the flesh from the baked potatoes and mix them with a little bit of warm milk, a little knob of butter and some black pepper. You can reheat it on the pan, on the stove, or you can reheat it in the microwave. The chicken and the vegetables will reheat in the pan as well. So just make sure once you have finished eating this evening that you allow everything to cool to room temperature, cover it and place it in the fridge until you're going to use it tomorrow. So this is a wonderful meal with very little washing up, very little food waste, and lots of wonderful summery flavours. This is the kind of thing that I really love to cook. So little effort for lots of wonderful food, and it'll help you take a weight off your feet and really enjoy the food that you're eating. So I hope you've liked this video. Keep an eye out Fingal County Council's social media pages for much more food, cooking, music and activities to keep you and the rest of the family occupied.